In this video, we spill more coolant, I rant a lot, and you will get some useful information out of it. You gotta really bear with the process on this car, people. You just have to. Remember I said not to drop anything in there? I now saw, just by chance, what it was. So I had dropped a bolt in there at one point, because right now I took the engine cover off. Right at the end of probably the carbon clean job when I was tired, and I dropped that in there. So there's your proof that you can drop things in there and you can't grab them out easily. So this sensor solenoid, I'm tired of the different words that are used for everything on this car. It does have a vacuum line in this crazy vacuum double T tree that runs all the way down to the SAI pump system, intake, everything, okay? So it has a bunch of vacuum lines, electrical connectors. The part that I have seems to be correct, but incorrect. Now, when I took the carbon engine cover off, I can't believe I had missed this a long time ago, but hiding under there, you see a vacuum hose that is disconnected. Doesn't look like it goes anywhere, but when you look real carefully, there's a double T. I don't want to bend it to not damage it to show you, but you see right there that second T nipple there that goes into that vacuum line that runs across. Something should be going in there. Now I don't know if somebody had butted these vacuum lines up incorrectly before, but our vacuum line in question has to seriously bend to get into that T joint that goes up there. Now, what I think this part is a lesson for, I did pay a pretty good chunk of money for it. I bought it from a local parts supplier because I got some help on the forum. I was excited. Yeah, maybe I can do it from the bottom and go. No, you cannot. And whatever this warehouse that they got this from, that parts supplier, the bracket does not match the bracket that's on the car. The hoses are all weird. Nothing matches. The part number seems to be correct, but there are a lot of weird oddities. I'm not going to use this, okay? I am going to plug that vacuum hose back into that part of the T because I don't know if on the forums I'll get the correct answer for this one. Yeah, it's kind of tough because if I don't do it in service position, well, actually, you know what? Here's what we'll do. I'm gonna push that vacuum hose into that T joint. I'll tell you afterwards if it's really, really bad, like how it flexes. But it clearly popped off at some point. I'm just hoping somebody never installed it. Maybe I knocked it off in all the repairs that I've done with this car. But maybe that is in all the codes videos. Again, like I say, it's been a lot of forum information back and forth, asking questions from mechanics. So hopefully you've been following the whole series, but this part, it could have just been that vacuum leak from this hose that has popped off from somewhere. Again, I don't know the correct place where it goes. I might be able to find some vacuum hose diagrams and I'll use those and figure it out. But that is kind of on the back burner, okay? Because this car is going to get fired up before service position goes away. So if we do think we need to change it, we will change it with this part. I might honestly bite the bullet and just buy it from the RS4 parts knowledgeable provider that I'm going to get the other parts from. So, a piece that comes with a bunch of vacuum lines, don't buy it from your local supplier, even if they tell you they can get VW Audi parts if it's an RS4. Maybe for a B7 RS4, you can do that. So even for that flap actuator, those guys had said they had it. I mean, I kind of unlucked out because this part comes with a lot more than just a flap sensor, but I'm still going to, I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay, we'll keep this part and we'll keep going along with this, so just follow along. Passenger side, auxiliary radiator intake, plastic. I thought this one was in good shape. Shaking it and looking at it more closely, the mounts are broken. Probably you can see right there where I'm shining the light, it's completely separated. But the other one is in such bad condition, which is why I thought this one was good. But hopefully, yeah, you can see it from right here. I mean, look right there, how sideways it is. All of these plastic mounts, no bolts are there. Plastic is broken. There's You see right there, I'm going to remove that bolt in the plastic, hopefully try to plastic weld this if I get a plastic welder in time, if not JB weld it or something for now. But everything's busted up on both sides in the lower ends. So because these are low cars, one small accident can do these kind of things. And those gaps and holes that open up, that can cause the same kind of debris that smashed the fins on the other side with that other radiator. So those are T25 or T30s. I'm going to take them both off. I should have done this a lot earlier, but I kind of didn't want to. Well, the reason I didn't do it is because I knew that getting stuff in on old cars that have unknown accidents, because you guys have seen zip ties and I'm not going to repeat and everything, putting stuff back can be really hard sometimes. But it seems like the dealership that the previous owner of this car got it from, man, they were real hacks. Like, they just threw all the plastic back in, threw the bumper on, and said, have a nice day. Now, is it because they couldn't fit it? I don't know. We'll find out when I go to put the bumper back on. But these pieces are going to be unobtainium pretty soon. So you better get a plastic welder and fix all these things if you have cracks or breaks, because this can cause big, like, look, one crack in this plastic can cause auxiliary radiator to be damaged, which cause service position thousands and thousands of dollars if you're not DIYing, and still thousands of dollars if you are DIYing. Now here's the other thing. These air scoop intakes from the bumper that go to the radiator are actually bolted into the radiator structure. So the radiator holds these, and then the radiator has bolts that hold itself to a metal support bracket. Okay, I went over all this the other day in the garage when I was alone, so it's way too messed up with camera angles to get in there to show you this stuff. But this is another case of the whole German sandwiching thing, which is fine. I mean, they had to squeeze a lot to put a V8 with 3 radiators and essentially an A4, which was meant for a 4-cylinder. And they've done a good job, but it means there's very specific millimetric stuff with these cars that you got to be focused on. Now, the other side, which many of you are aware of, you've seen it a lot, it's really busted up, which is what I think has pushed those fins in. I don't know why I didn't remove this way earlier to make my own life a lot easier. I guess I was too fixated on getting all the other problems, water pump off, whatnot. This air scoop I'm going to take out. I don't know if I'm going to Bondo patch it, take another piece of plastic and JB weld it for now. But eventually these are all going to get plastic welded, repainted, fixed. I don't know if this one's fixable. If you do have small cracks, here's my point with this, okay? Who cares about my car with all of its broken tabs? And okay, they both have 4 T30s, okay, that hold the scooper to the radiator. Now, the big point here is that one crack like this can cause a severe issue for you. So these plastics are a lot more important than just say, it's just a plastic, it's broken, I can live with it. Not cosmetic. These can be very truly mechanical, cause problems for you. So have things shifted because of a poor accident repair on this car? I don't know. We still never found the coolant leak, but the final straw in when I put this car back together, because I'm not trying to go through multiple loads of coolant and getting more parts and whatnot, because who knows how long it's going to take even to get this round of parts in if I have to go to different suppliers and whatnot. But I'm going to take these two off right now. Then we're going to remove the driver's side radiator because I did see some odd bubbling paint on the bottom. It's going to be easier to show this stuff once the parts are out. And I'm going to run some of my own style tests in the basement, and whether it's in this video or the next, we'll see. But for now, I'm going to take those two air scoops off with all their little plastic parts, show them to you, and we'll keep taking it from there. Vacuum lines on any car, on an Audi like this, can be scary to work with because you got to be super gentle not to pull stuff and break stuff. Yet it takes a decent amount of force to intricately get it on that small nipple that it has to go on. So with this one, if I can show you, I'm partially have reinstalled it. Again, this could be completely incorrect routing, okay? So I'm going to check this later, but I'm just putting it on for now. And it bent, if it will focus, for the life of Mother of God. So now that it's focused, this, I don't know where I was. I'm just going to leave this all in. I don't even care to edit it anymore so we don't lose stuff. Okay, Canon autofocus. If this is incorrect, I will change the routing. But you need to hold the vacuum hose with your right hand facing the car at the front where the front emblem used to be, and pull up with your thumb and your index finger on your left hand with the ever so gentle yet firm force to get that vacuum line on without breaking or damaging anything. So you can see I got a little bit of a ways to go there. I'm going to finish that. I just wanted to tell you how to do it to not snap or pull something out from under the intake manifold, because if you're in service position, Canon autofocus, thank you, you will have to take the manifold off to fix anything off that you pull by accident out from underneath the intake manifold or the rest of this sensor and its multitude of vacuum lines that go into it from all kind of random places. So that's it for now. I'm just going to push that back in and we'll keep taking it from there. So the reason you can really mess this up easily is not even the vacuum hose stuff. See what I'm going to move here? This line, you can see breaks in it if you break it. It's this wire bundle that is so tight, and the slightest motion you could pull something on an end, which you don't know, because that also goes straight down and under as well. You got to be real careful of that one there. Now another thing, I'm almost done, but had I thought of this earlier, if you're in service position, take the engine bracket off. It'll give your left hand more room to comfortably move around and push that vacuum hose up, but I was able to do it without removing that. Don't scrap what I said about the wires, but add to it is right here also, as you're pulling up on this, it's going to give force to the whole vacuum line contraption. So as you're pulling up, there's another vacuum line beside it in the second T-nipple that is also very tight. So if you pull this too much, you might pop it off on the other end under there and you'll never know. So really gentle yet strong, firm force. It's the best I can put it. Good luck. Good luck to me too here. This is where I've decided to leave it. It's maybe 1 millimeter lower than the one beside it. It still crosses over, which I don't like. Somebody might have crossed the vacuum line lining diagramming here, but both of them fit. The only thing is, was it this odd flexing joint that caused this vacuum hose to pop off at some point? We will find out all these things possibly quickly, possibly slowly, but I was able to get it in. It was a focus task, okay? You are going to really need to have focus when you do this one. All right, moving along. The bolts that are way up here, for me, it's easier because I have broken stuff. Actually, no, you can probably do this from... No, they're from outside. Okay, I was wrong. You can do them from outside, but you'll probably still need universal joints to get under there for both of those. If you want to just not have to figure all that out, if you have an RS4, you're going to have this 1/4-inch Craftsman with a T25. You don't need to think about anything. You can just get in there and do them all by hand. But by all means, if you have other tools, you can try other things too. Okay, so this previous body shop or dealership's work gets more amusing as we go on. This air scoop was not held in by any of the Torx bolts. Okay, 2 are missing. 1 is in good shape at the top, but was not holding the bracket. The one at the bottom, the rusted one I showed you, stripped right away when I put the T25 in it. So whether that was like that before or not is whatever. But the crazy part, and me thinking earlier, oh, this was in good shape, this air scoop is held on by this clip. So look at how pathetic these guys were. They were okay with leaving this in there just by shoving it in and allowing a coolant hose that goes between the aux rad and the main center rad to be the support of this. I mean, again, more signs of why you don't give these cars to anybody and be extreme. Like, the only reason I know this car has been to a shady used car dealership in the area is because the person I bought it from, I took a picture of their license plate when I gave him a deposit, and it had the name of the used car dealership, and he told me he bought it from the used car dealership. I looked them up afterwards and wasn't the nicest. Alright, I'm not going to go too far into that, but you guys are seeing the proof here. Like, come on, how do you let a car like this go like that? Okay. So I'm going to unclip that from the radiator hose, and we better fix this up because this is another problem waiting to happen. Man, you really do need a clean RS4 to make DIYs because this car has clearly been random shopified. So that rusty one was a T25, you can see there. But the two underneath here, they are T30s. So is it a T25 or T30? I don't know what came from the factory. Okay, so try both, have T20s and T25s and T30s. And if you're going under here, oh, it's tough to get those two bolts out. Those two bolts, here's the thing though. They're both there and they're both clean. Which makes me think, again, with the zip ties we saw on this side and all the misaligned, broken, this thing had breaks and cracks. I can't remember what part of the series. But I think that whoever it was just loosened those bolts a little and yanked this thing down. Which, actually, okay, now I'm being too excessive. I think that's the way it was designed to work. If you're just removing this, okay, you're not supposed to take those bolts fully out. You have to just... Okay, but when they reinstalled, they did not position this back correctly. They just put the plastic in, they said forget it, and they left. They were supposed to slide these under and then tighten those two T30s onto these two U-shaped ears, which nobody clearly did on either side and could have been done, okay? Because I told you it's meticulous. Getting underneath that little bracket there, it's not nice, it's not easy, and especially when things are just slightly misaligned on a car as tight packaged as this, I can see a lot of people getting annoyed. And if they're underpaid at a used car dealership and they say, because I've worked at used car dealerships, I know how this works. The buddy's getting underpaid, he's told to fix something that's sometimes out of their skill range, and it's like, yo, we're gonna fix it cheap, we're gonna get it out of here, we're here to make a profit. And then you get stuff like this. Just throw the plastic in. This kind of behavior is even applauded at most of your shine box automotive dealerships everywhere, where you got a happy, friendly salesman selling these expensive European cars, telling you everything's been fixed properly when nothing has. Everything's been hacked together like this. And then they just know how to play the businessman game of telling you somebody else did it, deflected responsibility, and that's it. All right, bit of a rant there, trying to be nice on YouTube. Could be a lot less nice, but okay, so this piece needs some work. Let's take the other one out now. I'm not even gonna bother with that bolt down there. I'm probably just gonna end up putting these two back. I'm going to, cause see, look what they've also done here. They've sheared off the mounts completely. That looks like human activities. Maybe, I don't know how some kind of accident takes off two corners of plastic like that. But, see, they've left me with no hope of even fixing this. I gotta really come up with something clever for this. So, this is not RS4 DIY, this is my car's condition DIY at this point. Alright, enough of this. Going to the other side, getting that one off. Interestingly, even though this one's mangled up, there are 3 bolts remaining, and they are distinctly T30s, and they are not rusted on the bottom like they were on the other side. And look at that Avis paint all over the black trim. Like, these guys were true hacks, whoever worked on this car. Repairing it, preparing it for sale or after an accident. Because the other side with the rusted bolt that's stripped is actually better of a sign than the perfectly good condition bolts on this one on the bottom, because it means these were most likely replaced recently, seeing as with all the other rust on the bolts on this car. So I'm going to take out the 3 T30s, the one at the top I'm going to loosen and just drop it out of the U-shaped thing, and then we'll take this rat out of this side. So those 2 T30s were different sizes. I don't know if that's a hack body shop move or if that's Audi factory, but the smaller one went to the outside side. My brain doesn't even work on this car anymore. On the where the fender flare arch is on the driver's side, that's where the shorter bolt went. Now the piece of plastic, now that it's out, doesn't even look that bad. I mean, it's really bad, but that big hole, I'm probably just gonna have to put a fiberglass Bondo patch on it for now, at least, just so that we have a functional car. It's not gonna look good, but That's what we got to do. So now I'm going to take out the driver's side aux rad for some testing. Probably not necessary, but we are going to do it anyway. Well, I don't care who this body shop is or isn't, but there's a piece of masking tape on the back of the busted up one. That's most likely a shop part. So always look for these kind of things, because these body shops have no care. They just leave their stickers and everything on, and they'll tell you that it's more mint than a brand new car off a showroom floor. So what I need to do next is, underneath that driver's side auxiliary radiator, there are two what seems like 10mm bolts. I'm going to undo them with the ratchet and let you know what happens, but I am going to keep my hand on the front of the aux rad in case it decides to belly flop forwards, because it's kind of loose in there, or backwards. But there is also that weird bump stop looking thing there that might help us for it not to fall over. But don't take any risks with these cars, especially if they've been in unknown small accidents like this one. So that went around the, hopefully I'm saying it right, I'm losing track of the parts. This AC line at the bottom center of your screen, I was able to wriggle the radiator out from this patch, so just a little up and down. Now we might do some interesting kind of power steering flush, because that at the furthest front is the power steering oil cooler. The engine oil secondary cooler is sandwiched just behind that. So that's the set wrap unit there. But that's beyond the point. I mean, it opened up a viewpoint for me for the power steering lines, making me want to do a power steering flush in some way that I come up with myself in this position. But that is for possibly a totally other video. Where am I? Okay, so see those two orange holes in the center of the screen? Those are where those 10mm bolts went into. I got a little coolant that fell out, but you can see those are two short 10mm bolts. So just, you know, they came out okay. They're not very long bolts. Now that we've got the rad out, let's take a closer look at it and clean up some of the extra coolant that is still dripping out of it now that it's been on its side. And as I've been saying with Audi OE coolant, I'm going to grab a nitrile disposable glove, because my other gloves will get permanently trashed. Okay, those gloves will go bad very quickly. So let me put this on. Okay, the one other thing I was going to mention is when you're jiggling this out, you really got to hold it carefully and try to put your hand on the places where the fluid goes through, those metal bars, because you can bend fins on rads really easily, any rad on any vehicle. So very gentle with that. Don't sandwich it and start wriggling it out. Oh, very good. Why am I filming this? Oh, no. Okay, you see what a great job I do here? Well, that's one way to dispose of coolant. I just want to continue making the video. Why am I doing it again? Because I want to show you the other side. See how excited I'm getting for no reason? See, you shouldn't do this. Alright, when you get this out, this is what's going to happen to you. Yeah, so... Oh, this is the whole point that I was going to show you a long time ago, was this one has a tag saying 1713. I'm guessing that means 17th week of 2013, meaning this was replaced in 2013 either due to an accident or due to a puncture, because there are other RS4 users that have told me that their coolant leaks on the driver's side or passenger side have been due to faulty auxiliary radiators. And if you lurk the forums, you will see that faulty radiators are a thing on these, and people even delete them, but there's still controversy if the car needs the cooling for road driving if it's been deleted, even if you track it. But man, that's way far down the road, especially for me in this car. So this is that bentness of the fins that I'm kind of worried about. Is there a pinhole somewhere? Which is why I'm going to test these. And this is right in the trajectory from the previous videos, for those of you that follow, that this came in probably from that busted up air scoop, and was hit here. And because we never found the coolant leak, we have to check every component. That's just the unfortunate truth, okay? Because I didn't want to put the water pump and everything back and then have to take this out again if for some reason the car's still leaking and we still can't visibly see where it's coming from. So most likely this is okay. I've said it a million times, but we are going to test it. Now that date stamp I just told you of, so I'm going to clean this all up with cat litter off camera. You see this one on this side has no date stamp. The ox rat on this side. So that's where it was on the other one. So I have no idea what the deal with this is. But this car has clearly been hit on this side because this is the headlight missing the little tab and it had zip ties and things shift weirdly, especially on cars like this. So I just dumped again this cat litter I've used 100 times and it still absorbs. Just want to show you that cat litter will absorb the coolant very well. You can see me starting to work on it here. This was the correct thing to have done right from the beginning. Just have an oil pan and put the rad right in there right away so that you don't have a ton of coolant spillage like I did. These are the joys. You see? Dripping from the garage door. Nasty cleanups. You got to get this before the garage door goes all the way up and it drips on the car itself. If you find yourself in this situation, having the garage door open and I use that coolanty rag, many times I went along the rubber at the bottom of the garage door to get all of the dirt and coolant off. This is after many rounds of reusing the cat litter on the coolant. I'm still got a little bit more left. But man, I reused that cat litter 10 times for oil and coolant. So don't just throw it away. Keep it in a bucket. Reuse it, reuse it. We're going to keep reusing this because it seems like it kind of dries out to a degree. So very interesting in terms of cat litter uses. Now, before we go, just because I'm not sure if my car, how much of an accident special it really is, I saw this earlier, but I remember I deemed it a non-important point. But what some of you might find is, you see this metal bracket here? Sorry, not that metal bracket. Okay, that metal bracket is at the bottom. But this one at the top here. Okay, so looking at it like this, there could be parts missing on this because this was an accident hacked back together car most likely. So this here is a 10mm bolt, the head under here, okay? That is one of those little sandwich style clips. So this could be clipped onto something on your car, and when there's one of these, there's usually two of these. So there could have been another bracket that was on the other side for this, or it could just be the one because it's kind of in relation to these two bushing, bump stop seeming mounting things. So do look out for this on the top of the aux rod and don't just take it out like I did, say with the 210mm, in case yours does have more hardware intact. So just look around, you'll be able to get every bolt necessary. But see, these are the bolts that the air intake goes into. So one is missing. As you can see, this one, the U style thing slides out, and at the bottom those two are full screws. So there's your proof that those air things screw into this. So that's as good as the cleanup will get tonight. It takes a long time, okay? I go, like, my Filter Queen vacuum is kind of like a shop vac, just way better in terms of suction. I clean up all the crevices inside the concrete on the floor after the cat litter. So that is dried up. It's all going to change color soon, but if you're doing this stuff in your garage on the floor, be ready for these kind of annoyances. And your back's going to bump into the silly metal pieces in your garage. And you have to be careful not to tear the Canon autofocus. This is not a thin object. What is this crap? That gasket at the bottom there, you would tear it up if you're not careful. Because you got to lift the garage, open it, close it, whatever. You get it. Just be really careful. Clean thoroughly so that you don't take this stuff inside of your house. And you also do not have a clean work area to come to tomorrow is always the point, okay? Don't leave the cleanup for the next day.